Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. This week at the Crafty Corner, we are going to be creating a 4th of July themed project, and it's going to be featuring an etc. tag board. So let's go ahead and pause here to see which supplies we'll be using today. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. For our 4th of July project, we are going to be pulling in a XL tag. This is from Stampers Anonymous, and this is one of the larger substrates that we work on. So what we're going to do is we're going to be creating a 4th of July themed project. And to start, we're going to be, of course, using red, white, and blue. This is going to include distress paints, lumberjack plaid, prize ribbon, and picket fence. So let's go ahead and turn this, and we're going to do a little bit of masking. We want to have a section that's going to be blue, and then of course we want some stripes. So what I'm going to do is start with a strip of washi tape right down the middle. Now I'm going to be going for a distressed look because I don't want this to just be a straight line going across. I want to have a bit of texture going. So I'm going to be tearing the washi tape at an angle so that we get some nice jaggedy edges. All right, so that's pretty centered right here. That should be good. Now the nice thing about washi tape is that if I place it wrong, it's going to be really easy to pick up and shift. Incidentally, the washi tape that I'm using today happens to be by Bailey J. All right, now let's see. I'm going to try to give myself like a little space, and then I can use a pencil to mark off where the next piece of washi tape will end up. All right, I'm just going to use the die pick. That will let me make a line. Okay, so moving that over. There we go. Let's see how far do we want that to come up. Somewhere around here, I think. Okay. And just try to tear that tape at an angle. All right. That's good. Now the next section is going to be a bit smaller. Just line that up. And this is going to have some overhang. That's going to be okay. Just mark that down. Good. And again, we'll take that. We're going to run that up the side. Yep, something like that should work. And let's see. I'll just tear that off, and then I'll do something jaggedy. Let's see. There. Okay. And let's just continue on the other side. Same sort of idea. Lining it up, and then marking that so that my lines are going to be pretty even. Okay, and let's make that jagged line. Okay, great. So we just need one more strip, and then we will be all set. All right, mark that. Good. Okay. There we go. And let's see. I want to start over here and tear that down. There, I like that. All right, so the first thing that I am going to do is add the blue color on here, and then we'll get into the red and white piece. So we've got some prize ribbon. We'll give that a good shake. And off to the side, I will put some of that down onto the media mat. Let's just move this back in frame. Good. And to apply this, I'm just going to use a piece of sponge. Could do a paintbrush, but I've been finding lately that for applying paint, a sponge has been very useful. So we're just gonna kind of dab that on. There we go. I'll probably need to use a paintbrush to integrate the other colors and to get more of a distressed look going. Because I want this to look really old and grungy. There we go. Ooh, loving that prize ribbon color. That is perfect for a patriotic vibe. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going over that. More than halfway done. Just want to dab that on. Now, if you notice, this particular substrate, the chipboard, it really likes to absorb the paint. Thick board tends to be pretty absorbent, but once we put the paint down, anything that we add over the top is going to slide around beautifully. Okay. Pretty much there. Just need a little bit more paint. Put that right on here. Good. And then I think we'll dive right into the red. I'll save the white for last, I think. Okay. Oof. That blue is so, so good. Love it. So just dabbing that out. And this is just a little piece of sponge from a larger sponge that I cut up from the dollar store. Nice, easy way to apply paint. Could do this with domed foam, but I find that the little sponge scraps are nice because I can cut them into any shape that I want when I need to apply things to different places. Okay. Good. So we'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to give this a quick dry with the Ranger Heat tool, and then we'll move on to our lumberjack plaid. Okay, that first layer of paint is now dry, so let's go ahead and add some lumberjack plaid. Just setting that off to the side, putting some down on the media mat, and I've got another piece of sponge. And let's go ahead and start applying it. I'm going to stay away from the upper part of this until I bring in a paintbrush. So then I'll be able to keep all that detail with that scraped angle going with the tape. Ooh. I don't think I had lumberjack plaid the last time I did a 4th of July project, and that is just the right color. It's a very, very good red. Okay, so just continuing to dab that on. Staying away from the top part. There we go. Nice and quick with the sponge as an applicator. So after we get all the paint on, the next thing that we're going to do is grunge this up. And I'll be pulling in a medium that I don't use very often. One, it's discontinued, but two, I honestly forget that I have it, so I want to use it before it accidentally dries out. And that's going to be the Collage Medium Crazing. Now, this product, I have used this before, but I've heard from many other crafters that it's a very hit or miss thing. I personally think that using Crazing is very, very weather dependent. If you're in too humid an environment, I don't think the Crazing cracks show up nearly as prominently as if you were in someplace, say, dry like Arizona or Utah. But I am very fortunate to have a climate-controlled craft room, so I can keep my humidity levels down pretty low. All right, let's go in the paintbrush, and we'll add in that last little bit here. There we go. That's gonna look so good. So I'm just brushing this last little bit on because the sponge would be just a little bit too much in that space. Not a problem though. Okay. Well, looks like I might need a little bit more paint soon. I'll be okay. So just trying to brush up these little areas. Get a little more paint, a little shake, a few drops. There we go. And again, once I have the red layer down, then I will go in with the heat tool and we'll dry it off before we move on to the white layer. And I'm also thinking that we'll definitely want to be adding some stars too. Now, when Distress Paint dries, it is permanent, so I don't have to worry about any color bleed if I decide to use Texture Paste Opaque Matte. That's a bonus of using Distress Paint as your first layer on a project. Okay, I think we're almost good. That is looking very, very good. I'm happy with that. I think our coverage is pretty good. All right. Back in just a moment after we do a little bit of drying with the Ranger heat tool. Okay, now that that layer of paint is dry, let's go ahead and take the washi tape off. There we go. Nice clean lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the washi tape again, and I'll be able to use that to mask off the red section while we add in the white. So just take that, place that right over the top. There we go. So just a quick little move like that. There we go. All right. Excellent. Nice and easy. Okay. Might have to do a little touch up after the fact, but right now that is looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and get our white picket fence paint. And I'm just going to cut this part of the sponge off so that I have a clean piece for the white to work with. Okay. Give this a good shake. And put down more paint. And I'll definitely be going back in with the brush probably to do the upper parts again. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and just start dabbing. There. That is going to look so crisp and clean. I absolutely love using masking as a technique because it just gives such definitive lines when you're trying to work with straight vectors. Okay. I don't mask nearly enough. It's a technique I really should remember to use more often. But today, it was the perfect thing for this project. Oh, that is looking very good. Might need to go back in with a second layer. If I recall correctly, picket fence tends to be a bit more translucent than some of the other distress paints, but not a problem. You can definitely go in and layer things up as needed. All right, that's moving pretty fast. I've already got 3 stripes done. On to number 4. Yeah, I can see that we had like a little bit of bleed through with the red, but that really won't be a problem because if we double up on the white, then that should cover things up quite nicely. And this is interesting. The white tends to dry a bit faster than some of the other colors, so it's going to be easy to do multiple layers. So just continuing to tap. There we go. First side is already almost dry, so I can go back over with a second layer. There we go. Just want to make sure everything gets good and covered. All right, back over here. And we'll be moving on to the paintbrush pretty soon. Just need to finish up this last stripe. And need more paint. Oh, that's interesting. For some reason I'm getting a little bit of green. That's odd. Don't remember using any green today. Huh. Alright. I'll just keep working. Alright, let's see here. Where do I want to add a bit more? Maybe over here. This side. There we go. And again over here. Okay, now it is time to bring in the paintbrush. We've got a great base layer. Now I need to work on the upper part for a little bit of detail. Okay. So we'll just scoop that up and I'll just carefully work my way along those lines that we already have outlined for us. There we go. Now this is already getting pretty grungy, which I love. Just having those torn strips of tape gave us a really great pattern to follow over here. I really like that. Okay, let's bring that up. Good. Now, I love the jaggedy bits with the torn tape. That part made me really, really happy. Okay. Over here, I've just got 2 more after this one. And then again, we'll dry it off with the heat tool before we go in with some crazing. Oh, looks like I need a little bit more paint again. Not a problem. Whoop. A little bit of splatter. There we go. That'll be fine. Okay. Over here. And right here. Good. Now I'm just going to look for a few spots to touch up, and then we'll hit this with the Ranger Heat tool. Okay, this is all nice and dry, so let's go ahead and take the tape off. Alright, looks like I'll need to do just a little bit of touch up with the red. We have some very odd fluorescent-y-ish pink areas, but that's easy enough to take care of with a quick touch up with the red. Alright. And that came out pretty darn clean, but I do want to do that little touch up on the red. Okay, so this should be pretty quick. Just need a little drop or two of paint, and got my paintbrush. Should be all set. So just going in there very carefully, trying to get rid of that little pink bit. And it just seems to happen in a couple of areas, so that's not too bad. Just gonna very carefully run the brush along that. Make that nice and red again. There. It's interesting that it ended up doing a fluorescent pink than just like kind of a muted pink. Not what I was expecting with the bleed through. But easy enough to fix. So just very, very carefully. Okay. So now let's go ahead and grab that Crazing collage media. So this is the Crazing. It's collage medium. It's pretty much the same texture as collage medium, but it does a really cool crazing trick. And as I said before, this is discontinued, so I'm trying to use mine up before it completely solidifies. So let's go ahead. We're going to stick things on fast forward as I completely cover our substrate with the crazing. I'm going for like a layer that's going to be equivalent to scraping butter on toast, because if we put it on too thick, it's not going to dry and it won't craze. If we put it on too thin, then the technique doesn't show up. So there's a happy medium somewhere in between, but as I said before, it's kind of hit or miss, especially depending on the weather and the environment that you're in. All right, let's go ahead and put this part on fast forward. Okay, so we have this covered completely with Collage Crazing Medium. We're going to set this aside and let it dry. Best estimation, I'm probably going to need at least 45 minutes for this to completely dry out and show the crazing. The good news is we already have a teeny tiny bit of crazing starting to happen right around here. I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up, but crazing is already happening. But that's going to pop so much more once we add some Distress Walnut Stain Crayon to this. So I'm hoping to see more of that all over our substrate. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be working on is going to be the assembly of our main focal point. I couldn't help but resist bringing in Arthur, one of my favorite Colorize animals, and I thought he'd make an excellent addition to our patriotic theme. We're going to build the base with the owl, but then we're going to be adding a star-spangled vest for him and a patriotic hat. So let's go ahead and get started with the basics with our owl. So the owl comes with a tree branch. We might as well start there for assembly. So for assembling things, we're just going to be using some collage medium. Let's go ahead, we'll take this, add a little bit on. We don't need to overdo it. Collage medium works very, very well. Just need enough to get this stuck down and start drying. So for the papers that I used for this, I've got a mixture of Sizzix cardstock, I've got some Ideology cardstock, and I'm also upcycling some of the packaging from other Tim Holtz products in the Ideology line, because those already have a great distressed look to them and are really easy to cut up for die cutting pieces. Okay, so just lining things up. There we go. Colorize is so easy to put together. There are usually some nice outlines for us to follow, and that makes it easy to assemble pieces onto the spots that they're supposed to belong to. So I'm just going to hold that for a second and we'll bring in Arthur. So as you can see, we have some lines on here. This is from the die cut. It's just a impression, and it gives us a guideline of where other pieces are going to be assembled on this multi-layer colorized piece. All right, so we've got our branch. Set that aside. And we'll bring in all of our pieces for Arthur. Arthur is fairly complex and does have a lot of pieces. So some of this we'll do real time, and other bits we're going to put on fast forward. Oof, I forgot how many pieces there are. But I like to start with the largest pieces first and then work my way down to the small detail-oriented pieces. So let's go ahead and start assembling. First piece that I want to do is this one. It's going to be part of the chest. And again, we're just going to take collage medium and gently scribble that on. There we go. And then hold it in place for a moment to let it set up. I'm using all of those nice lines on here as a guide. These really help me determine where the pieces go. It's pretty intuitive once you notice the guidelines, and then putting this together isn't nearly as bad as it seems, even though Arthur comes with many, many pieces. All right, let's take this one next. That can go here. Excellent. And how about some tail feathers? Take that. Okay, this is going to link in there, but we can put this part down first. So just scribbling on some collage medium. Don't need to go overboard, just need enough for things to stick in place. Okay, there we go. Snug that up. Nice. And I can take this piece right here and add that next. So once you get the big pieces in, things really fall into place very quickly. And if you put this together more than once, it's going to be very easy to repeat the process multiple times. And I want to say that I've probably put Arthur together at least 20 times, so with all the practice, it makes it that much easier to find where all the pieces go. Turn that around. There we go. Excellent. And as you can see, Arthur comes together pretty quickly. We've already got a bunch of details on here. I really like the way he looks. Doesn't take much. All right, now we got some more chest feathers. Just put that right here. Great. And let's do that little zigzag piece right here. There. There we go. See what I mean? Everything just comes together so easily. I absolutely love this. Okay, let's take care of the eyes next. Good. Just like that, he is almost done. We just have to do the details after. Let's see here. I want to do those eyebrows. Those are so fun. That's going to go right here. I absolutely love that piece. It gives him such attitude and personality. And we'll do the other one on this side. The black was die cut from some Distress Black Heavy Stock. My favorite substrate if I want something completely in black. Okay, there we go. Oh, let's see, I think I can do the two pieces for his feet easily, and we'll also place the eyes. And I can do this little zigzag as well, and the little tuft that's going to go at the top. All right, it's moving right along. Just gotta poke a couple little pieces out of that. Good. All right, let's get some glue. Take that, put that here. Very good. And where does that zigzag go? That's, oh yeah, that goes there. Okay. Some of the pieces are so small, but it's the little details that really bring these colorized characters to life. Okay. There we go. And I was going to do these pieces next. This is where the talons are going. Okay. That one's going to go right here. Oh, gotta light that up. There. And then this one goes over here. Wonderful. Now let's see. Anything else that I can add right now? Yeah. Could do the little under pieces and the eyes. It's going to go here and here. Good. Just moving that just a little hair. There we go. And I want to do the under pieces. So that's easy enough. If you find the pieces really small, I would recommend using the Sizzix squeezers because those are very easy to use to pick up small things. Also, you could use a wax pencil. That is also a good way to move tiny pieces around. All right, so I've got some blank pieces that are going to need some coloring. So we're going to put this on fast forward as I add some color to some of these white pieces, and then we'll come back and take a look at the full assembly. Here is our finished Arthur the Owl. We used a bit of fossilized amber crayon to add some color to the eyes and a bit of distressed black soot crayon for the talons. Now I just want to add a little bit more interest to the eyes by adding a small layer of glossy accents by Ranger. This is going to make the owl eyes just a bit more luminescent and give them a nice shine. So I'm just carefully dripping on the glossy accents from the bottle. Okay. So now that that's on, we'll just set that aside and let it dry. Estimation on glossy accents is probably going to be somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. In the meantime, let's go ahead and bring back our tag and see about grunging it up just a bit. Here is the tag, and let's see. I can't really tell what has gone on this. The only way to really tell is going to be to add some grunge. And to do that, we're going to need a brush and some distressed crayon walnut stain. So off to the side, I'm going to scribble down some crayon, and then we'll be able to start grunging this. I'm hoping that we do have a bit of crazing coming through, but if not, we've got some really good texture anyway that the distressed crayon should pop for us. Alright, so we're just taking this, scribbling it down. There we go. I love walnut stain. Definitely my favorite crayon to get grungy with. Alright. So I've got a good portion of that scribbled off to the side. I'm going to give that a quick spritz with the Distress Mister, and then we're going to start altering the tag. Okay, I've got that. And I have one of these brushes. This one is strictly used for Distress Crayon, so I'm just going to mop some of that up, push the little barrel piece back down, and start swiping. Let's see what we have. Ooh, that is grunging very nicely. I like it. It looks like I'll need more crayon. Kind of want to scribble that directly on here now too. That's just going to get dispersed once the crayon is smushed around with the brush. Alright, there we go. Just brushing that out, trying to get a nice grungy feel going. Oh, it looks like we got something going on. And I'm starting to see little fissures on here. And that is what I was looking for with the crazing. It's not really, it's not like a really stunning thing like with crackle paste. It's more subtle, just kind of these little fissures that look worn and vintage-like. And really the only way to tell what's going on is to smoosh that distressed crayon in there to add contrast. So let's see what we got. A bit of crayon. Let's see. Might want a little bit more in places. I think I want some more on the dark blue. A little bit more on the side. There. I'm just going to keep brushing that in. There we go. I am just loving the paint job that came through with this. That makes me really happy. There we go. Nice and grungy now. I like it. Okay. And we'll just take this closer in just a moment to get a better look at this. So I can definitely see spots where the crazing did kick in. All right. So you see all those grungy little imperfections? That is the crazing at work. It is really, really interesting. I like the effect that it gives. It's not really bold, but it's there. And I find that absolutely fascinating. So the next step is going to be to add some stars. And we're going to do that with a bit of texture paste and some glitter paste. So I want to just zap this with the heat tool, and then we move on to the next step. Oh, there we go. That's a really good example of the crazing. That looks really, really cool. All right, back in just a moment. So for the stars, we're going to be pulling in stencil THS 111. Now this is a shifter stencil, and the spacing on these stars is absolutely perfect for what we're trying to do today. So we're just going to line this up and smush some texture paste through and go from there. So I'm going to be starting off with some texture paste matte, and that will give us a good foundation for the next part. And I want to go fairly light because we are going to use the sparkle paste over the top. Okay, so just taking that, lightly smushing that through. We'll see what we get. Okay, so I'm scraping this really, really thin. That should be pretty good. We've scraped as much extra off as we can. We'll just lift. Looks great. And just moving that over, and I can line this up because these are a shifter stencil, and continue to stencil out this way. Okay. All in all, not too bad. This won't need too much time to dry, which is nice, but just enough so that I can put the next layer over the top. All right. Oop. That starts being a pain. Okay, and lift. There we go. That is pretty good. I'll just scrape the rest back into the jar. Quickly clean that up. Excellent. So the next thing will be to wash out our stencil and clean off the palette knife, and then we will come back and add some sparkle to this. All right, let's add in our sparkle. So I'm just going to line the stencil up again. We've got that right here. Good. And we're just going to go in with a thin layer of some sparkle. So this is Distress Texture Paste Sparkle. And just go ahead and open that up. Get a little bit on our palette knife. And add that to our stars. It shouldn't take too much. Just need to get a little bit on each star. Just a very light scrape. There we go. Good. We'll just work our way through the stars that we have right here. Okay. We just got one more. All right. That will be nice and sparkling. So we're just going to carefully remove the stencil. And I'm going to give that a very quick dry with the Ranger heat tool, and then we'll move right on and take care of the other stars as well. All right, let's line this up again and get the rest of our stars. Okay. That should be right about here. Just shifting that a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and add that sparkle. So again, just lightly scraping, just trying to get that little bit of sparkle on here. Okay. A little bit more. Almost there. The vintagey retro sparkle is going to be just the thing for this. Okay. And we'll carefully lift that off. There we go. Plenty of sparkle. So the next thing that we're going to want to do will be a little bit of cleanup. I'll just set this off to the side for a moment, and I need to give that stencil a quick spritz so we don't have all that sparkle drying right on here. There we go. Take that, wipe it off. Okay. Nice easy cleanup. Now that we have all of that done, it is time to start the assembly process. For the owl, we are going to need to create a hat and a vest. I decided to go for the hat out of the Professor CMS 373. I think that will be just the right size for Arthur. So we're going to take some paper and we'll fussy cut that. Let's see. We'll go for some mixed media heavy stock. Got that. Got our stamp. Now I just need some ink and we'll be ready to make our next thing. So I've got some black soot archival. Just putting that right down onto the stamp. Okay, let's stamp that out. Okay, that looks great. Now I want to add a teeny tiny bit of blue to the band of the hat. Just a little dash of prize ribbon. Just painting that on there very, very thin so that we can still see the stamped detail underneath. Okay. Next we'll be fussy cutting with some of the new tonic recoiling scissors. I really enjoy those. Those are so much easier on the hand for cutting. Okay, got our recoils right here. And let's go ahead and cut this out. So much easier. So we're just going to work our way carefully around. Up and around over here. There we go. These are really comfortable in the hand. The grip is really nice and it doesn't dig into the sides of my hands when I'm doing lots and lots of cutting. All right, there we go. Good. Just cap that. And we'll put our stamp set away. There we go. And I'll just put that back in my stamp holder. All right, let's bring Arthur back and our tag. Okay. Here we go with the tag. That looks really good. All right, let's adjust our view. think we'll work on an angle like that. Oh, I have a white splotch. There, that's better. Okay. So next we're going to need Arthur. He's going to be working somewhere around here. And we'll put the branch in as well. Right now I'm just kind of positioning and figuring out where I want things to be. Put the branch right in the middle. Arthur can hang out on that. And in addition to the branch, I've also got these pieces. They kind of make me think of like olive branches, which I wanted to place kind of around here. Thought that might just add a little bit more interest, and I'll do that on both sides. There we go. Just something like that. Not quite sure. Okay. So, kind of got a plan. Let's stick the tree branch down first and go from there. And to do that, of course, we're going to want some more collage medium. Just take that, scribble it out. Excellent. A little bit more on this side. Okay, and we'll turn it so it's this way, and I want that reasonably centered. Good. And I'll just hold that for a moment or two to make sure everything is going to stick down nicely. Ooh, I'm really, really happy with the way our background came out. That's looking really good. I like that a lot. Okay. Next, we want Arthur. Now I am debating. I kind of want to pop him up on foam squares, but at the same time, I'm not sure if he's going to stick, but you know what? I want to do foam squares because he needs a little bit of dimension. I will still have to get in there and measure to do a vest for him, but that shouldn't be too hard. Actually, if I just leave him kind of floating and don't take off the backings yet, then I can do my measurements that much easier. All right, let's go ahead and take care of our leafy greens. This is from Garden Greens, one of my favorite Sizzix die sets. And I die cut these pieces out of some Sizzix cardstock and a little bit of a tag that I had altered with distress mica spray stains and spray stains. Okay. And let's take care of the other side. So again, just adding little bits of glue. And then we can keep building our scene. Usually when I'm working, I try to work in layers, so I always start with my background first, then I'll go to my main focal point, which in this case is Arthur, and then I'll come back and embellish the background, and then I'll work on the construction of the entire piece. And I like to do my foundational layers, supporting layers, and then the focal point comes in last. Okay, put him back. That's my placeholder. And we need some more glue. And I really love working with complementary colors and then adding a pop of another color to add more visual interest. Okay, that's gonna go here. There. Hold that down a second or two. That little bit of added shine and sparkle is a really nice accent on here. Alright, now I've got the third one for this side. Again, more glue. I'll put Arthur back, make sure that my placement is still good. There. And we'll put that right here. And I'll hold that a moment. Okay. Alright, let's move on to the other side. More glue. There we go. Let's take that. I think right there's good. Double check it. Yep, that'll be fine. Holding it down. Great. And one more. I think next I'll put the hat on Arthur, and then I'll work on the vest. After that, we just have a few finishing details, and then we'll be all set. Oh yeah, I do like that quite a bit. Works out very nicely. All right, so let's grab that hat. We're just going to, oh, I kind of want to snip that off and put it in the front. Let's try that. You can have that little feather piece peeking out from underneath the hat. We'll just cut that. Right, now I need some glue. There. Take the hat. Excellent, I like that. And then just a little dab of glue to add that feathered piece right back. I like that a lot. That works out very nicely. Just all right. Now for the next part. I'm going to move this out of the way. We'll let those greens dry. Now I want to add a vest. So what we're going to do, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to trace and see what I can get. All right, so it starts somewhere here. This is going to be a lot of estimation. That's okay. Okay. So let's see here. Let's estimate. If we put the curve there, I can always trim this once I've cut it out. And we'll bring that dip in. There we go. All right, now I want to paint that with some blue and red. Let's take the blue first. Ooh, maybe I could do like a glitter accent for the stars. That could be neat. So we'll take that blue, and that's going to be this side. Now, I suspect I'll have to trim this down quite a bit, but that won't be a problem. Okay. Because once I glue this on top, it won't be that hard to trim off the edges that are hanging over. Okay. Oh, that blue is working out very nicely. Okay. And on this side, that's good. All right, next we're going to go in with the red. I like the cream color of this cardstock already, so I'm not going to bother adding in any white. This is going to be just fine as it is. All right, I've got a drop of red off to the side. And let's see here. Start here. Oh, I think I can freehand this. Cool. So I'm just going to work my way down just like that, doing some relatively broad stripes. If I go over my lines, not a big deal, because I can just snip that off. It's actually going to be easier for me to go slightly over the line than trying to be absolutely perfect. Yeah, I'm really happy with this idea. Okay, one here, and then I just need one more that will hang off the edge. Great. Now over here. Oh, I kind of want to do stars for buttons, and I've got these little stars from Ideology that would work really well. That's a thought. But first, let's get this painted. All right, another one here. Good. And over here, I think I'll be doing about 3 more stripes. Yep, about 3. Great. Now I just need to dry this off, and then we will be ready to try this out on Arthur. Before I cut that out, I do want to add a few stars, and I decided I'm going to use a gel pen to do this. I'm not going to be too fancy, I'm just going to do some little circles, and that should be pretty good. There we go. All right. That's working out okay. Doesn't need to be too fancy. And I'm using a Jelly Roll Sakura gel pen for this. All right, well, let's go ahead. We'll cut this out. Again, I'm using the recoil scissors since I already have them out. All right. Can't wait to see this on Arthur. Okay, last cut, and then we can get some glue. Just a little bit of a trim. Okay, let's see how we did. Oh my word, that is fantastic. Love it, but I need to do a little bit of a trim. Let's see here. I think we'll just bring that there. Bring that along here. All right, and we'll just bring that up here. That works out quite well. All right, quick trim, and we're good. All right, let's work around this way. And then over this way. All right, and I'll double check. Make sure everything looks good still. And yes, it does. So, get our collage medium, scribble that on. Then we're going to be adding in Arthur to the tag, and then we'll be embellishing a few stars. All right, so I'm just going to hold that there for a moment or two. I'll give the glue a chance to stick. And let's bring back our tag. Okay. All right, let's just flip him over. We'll take the little sticky backs off. Okay, now we can stick Arthur down. Just place him right here. There we go. Oh, I really like how that turned out. Very, very cool. So the next thing I want to do is to add a few stars right here as buttons. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull in some foundry wax and we're going to alter a few stars. And then I also want to do a couple of stars around him as well. So what I have here are some old stars from a very ancient ideology SKU, and I've had these in my stash for a bit, and this seemed like the right project to bring them out for. We're going to be altering these with some distressed foundry wax gilded. So we're going to go ahead and give that bottle a really good shake, make sure that all of that pigment is nice and incorporated, and then we're going to see what we can do to make these stars golden. Okay, hopefully that is shaken up. The gilded tends to be really, really thick, so it takes a lot of shaking to get that pigment moving. Okay, so I'm taking that, putting some of that down on the media mat. Okay, let's see what we can do. So I've got a small brush, and we'll just use that to add some gold. Ooh, that's drying really fast. Interesting. Well, we'll just have to work quickly. So I'm just dabbing the stars as quickly as I can with the gilded, trying to get as much of the pigment on there as I can. And we'll just have to see what we get. Oh wow, that is drying really, really fast today. I wonder why. But we'll make it work. We always make it work. Alright, we just have one more to do. And that should be good, I hope. Wow, that really, really snuck up on me today for drying time. That was not what I anticipated at all, but it will work. All right, there we go. Tap that out. So we'll be back in just a moment once I have hit these with the embossing heat gun and gotten these all nice and melty. So we have all of our pieces nicely gilded with some foundry wax. Now we're going to add them to our project. I'm going to do 2 small stars on Arthur's vest. Got 1 and 2. Ooh, I like it. That worked really well. Okay. And then I want to do 5 going around up here. All right. And 1 more. So go ahead and place these. Oh, that's gonna look really good. That is making me really, really happy. I love the shine on these, and they look so grungy. Okay, very good. Just need 1 more. There. I think I'm very happy with this. Now we're going to be adding the sentiment. I have some tiny little letter chips that I cut down to just about the right size to go at the base of this large thick board tag. So let's just add some glue to the back of these and place them down. I was able to trim these using the Tonic Tiny Trimmer, and now they're going to make just the right accent of gold on our large tag. So I'm just checking spacing, making sure everything looks good. There we go. Ooh, I definitely like that. That works out really, really well. Cool. So we're just going to take our collage medium, we're just dotting that on here and then sticking the pieces directly onto the tag. A nice easy way to add a finishing touch embellishment. There we go. So it says July 4th. Perfect. So a few more dots. Just getting everything neatly lined up. There we go. That looks really good. Okay. And that would finish it off. I'm really happy with that. All right. So the last thing that I want to do is give our owl a little prize ribbon, and this is something I made ages ago, was laying around in my embellishment drawer. So I have a piece of mini flare, then this looks like I used some Distress pearlescent crayon on some cardstock. I'm guessing that's Winter Frost. And then I've got a little piece of Ideology ephemera that I used for the backing. So just going to add some glue and we'll stick that down right here. And that would complete our 4th of July project. So I'm just going to clear the deck and we'll take a closer look at our finished tag. Let's take a look at our finished tag. So right down here we can see the letter chips that we cut down to size, and then we move into the beautiful foliage from Garden Greens, and Arthur looks so wonderful. I am happy that I was able to alter a few pieces in order to give him a more festive look. I'm particularly happy with the way the vest came out and the star embellishments. Now, if we look more at the tag itself, you can see all of that fantastic grungy goodness that we brought out with the collage Crazing paste and the Distress walnut stain crayon. Then going further up, we added a bit of sparkle with some stars featuring texture paste opaque and glitter texture paste. We used a shifter stencil to get that pattern of stars. Overall, I'm super happy with the way this 4th of July project turned out. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some 4th of July fun. And until next time, happy crafting.